Mesdames et messieurs, chers amis, j'ai le plaisir donc de présenter les deux intervenants prestigieux et certainement passionnants de ce déjeuner, deux intervenants qui font honneur à nos entreprises. Vous verrez qu'ils ont plus de points communs qu'ils n'en ont l'air. Chère Isabelle Kocher, vous avez été en 2016 la première femme à intégrer le club fermé des dirigeants du CAC 40. La grande nageuse que vous êtes trouve à s'exprimer dans un océan déchaîné. Entrée chez Suez en 2002, vous avez occupé différents postes dans ce même groupe, avant d'en être nommée directrice générale en 2016 à la tête de 160 000 salariés. Vous avez conduit avec talent et détermination, dans un monde parfois hostile, la transformation du groupe et son recentrage sur les métiers de la performance énergétique et environnementale. La priorité que vous avez fixée sur l'économie de consommation énergétique a pu paraître paradoxale. Elle se révèle être un pari gagnant et responsable. Cher Ben Smith, si Isabelle est la seule femme représentée au CAC 40, vous êtes le seul Canadien président d'une grande entreprise française. Mon épouse hollandaise me reprendrait séance tenante d'une entreprise franco-néerlandaise. Et tous les deux, vous avez l'État comme actionnaire, exercice subtil s'il en est, surtout, cher Ben, quand il s'agit de deux États. Vous avez accepté, Ben, de relever un défi courageux, prendre les rênes de notre compagnie nationale. Pour nous, Français, jusqu'ici, l'expérience aéronautique du Canada nous était plutôt inspirée par la chanson Lindbergh du merveilleux Robert Charlebois, celle qui cite Québec Air, Transworld, Northeast, Eastern, Western, puis Pan American, soit autant de compagnies qui ont disparu depuis, mais ça, c'était avant. Avant que vous preniez en main Air Canada, que vous avez magnifiquement redressé avec l'accord unanime des syndicats, une expérience réussie du dialogue social qui vous est évidemment précieuse dans vos fonctions actuelles. Nommé à la tête du groupe Air France depuis 1 an, vous avez rétabli le climat de confiance avec les pilotes et les syndicats et remis sur les ailes, si je puis dire, la compagnie. Il vous reste encore à convaincre définitivement les clients. Pour ce qui me concerne, c'est déjà fait. Chère Isabelle, cher Ben, même génération, celle qui me fait paraître plus vieux, même vision stratégique, même volonté de transformation de vos groupes, défense d'une croissance inclusive, importance accordée aux relations sociales, prise en compte de l'impératif environnemental, voilà aussi ce qui vous réunit. Isabelle, vous êtes l'eau par votre entreprise d'origine, mais aussi le feu par votre détermination à pousser les énergies renouvelables. Ben, vous êtes l'air, mais vous savez aussi que les problèmes d'Air France se règlent sur Terre. Vous êtes, à vous deux, les 4 éléments indissociables. J'ai enfin trouvé un dernier point commun entre vous. Vous êtes tous deux un peu dans la ligne de mire de notre gouvernement. Isabelle, avec l'ensemble des lois, décrets et circulaires qui réglementent le secteur de l'environnement. Ben, avec le projet de taxe sur les billets d'avion, politiquement compréhensible, mais économiquement funeste. Et c'est un autre point commun avec le MEDEF que je représente aujourd'hui. Nous devons tous composer avec les pouvoirs publics en essayant d'articuler le temps long de l'entreprise et celui, souvent plus court, du politique. L'un et l'autre, vous y parvenez, soyez-en félicités. Chère Isabelle, cher Ben, the floor is yours. Cher Laurent, je te cède la parole. Merci.
Hope you have a good lunch, because it's no longer the case for us, no desserts, but we try to cope with the challenge Jean-Luc gave us in order to, work together on the subject, which is, as you know, can corporation master inclusion? Dear Jean-Luc, you have cheated with this panel, because you have taken the two within the French capitalism who are, I think, emblematic of diversity. But maybe we could have had another panel with probably less exceptional exceptions than today, but we try to show that probably corporation and capitalism can master inclusion. My first question, Ben, is for you, but it will be also for you, Isabelle. You know, there is a famous American economist, Milton Friedman, And he explains that business of business is business. And you have to do everything, Patrick mentioned it, at the same time. You have to transform, you have to lead, you have to change everything, and everything is changing around you. And on the top, you have to master inclusion and sustainability. So what is your vision? How to do this? Are you Superman?
I'm definitely not Superman. So our business, the airline business, starts with our employees. We have 85,000 in the group, and because so many of our employees are customer facing, makes a big part of our business a customer service business. So that being the case with Air France-KLM, in terms of inclusion, all of my colleagues have to feel part of our team. And when I got here, this was priority number one, was to ensure that there was a clear view as to what the values were of our organization, and that they would align with the values of each and every person at Air France-KLM. So, I'll kind of move around perhaps the two themes that you brought up. So our industry, we have to deal with the focus on the environment in a way I believe that most other industries don't. We're a very easy target because of the visibility that airlines have. So we've got probably a more difficult job than most industries in ensuring that we are positioned or viewed as a responsible player when it comes to meeting our environmental responsibilities. So starting with the inclusion, going back to that, many of our employees, a lot of my colleagues, they want to be happy and feel proud of what they do and their job going forward. It starts there. I get a lot of questions and a lot of comments from pilots, from cabin attendants, from maintenance personnel saying, I want to be able to proudly tell my friends and my family that I work in an industry that is responsible and for a company that is responsible. So mixing around inclusion and the environment, sustainability, this is a great start for us. If we have it right at the basic level with our staff, the next phase with our customers, with our shareholders, becomes a lot easier if the entire organization, from a foundation perspective, is there. So just quickly get to your vision is that our business is hopefully going to be around for many more years, hopefully another 100 years. And as you say, we need to evolve. There's still a huge demand for air travel, but we do have new responsibilities in this new world.
Yeah. But one more question maybe. Regarding, for example, your competitors from the Gulf, for example, do you think that they have the same rules? They have the same pressure in order to be inclusive, in order to be sustainable? Do you feel a gap in terms of competition between you and these competitors, for example?
So the three airlines in the Gulf plus Turkish Airlines, we don't necessarily view them as regular competitors. They have enormous government support, and in some cases they are actually an arm of the government. So they're a challenge from a corporate perspective, just straight business perspective. But when it comes to to this issue of inclusion and responsibility with the environment, their brands depend on it. Like all of our competitors, for their brands to remain as strong and as valuable as they are today, like all of our other competitors, we've all got to ensure that the issues that we face do not diminish the value of our brands. And if anything, if we can position ourselves for them to become stronger, all the better. And I think Air France-KLM in particular here in France, because of the focus on the environment, which is ahead of most Western countries, if not all the Western countries, are forcing us to move forward and faster than a lot of our competitors. So we should have an advantage, with the focus that we have.
Same question, Isabelle. Are you Superwoman?
Absolutely not. No, first of all, this is really a pleasure to be here again, and I'd like to thank Gilles Rémillard and Angel Gurria, who host this convention. That's always a great atmosphere, very inclusive. Energy field is moving very fast, as we all know. This is the first energy the first CO2 producer in the world, and then by design, it is probably the sector that is the most under pressure. And no doubt that we have to go to zero carbon, and that we have to go there as fast as we can, with no choice. And what is impressive, I believe, is the level of constraints we have to deal with. Because we have this absolutely needed energy transition to zero carbon, but we need to do so such a way that we have no increase of the energy bill, because we all know that it is not affordable. We see that in the street very clearly, so that's not affordable for people. That's not affordable for companies. Energy cost is a big part of their cost to produce what they have to produce. And it is, I believe, very, very clear that we have to manage this fight between two big constraints, end of the world and end of the month. And we see that again in our streets. End of the world, we see the students demonstrating every Friday, or not every Friday, but very often now, saying we need more energy transition more rapidly. It is absolutely needed. And they are extremely pushy vis-à-vis our generation to do something. And end of the month, we have on Saturday the yellow vest in France, but France is not an exception. And for me, the main limit, the main obstacle of energy transition is not technology, it's really affordability. Really, the point, in my view, the biggest limit, the biggest obstacle is affordability. Because that's true that the new generation of renewables and zero carbon energy production is more expensive. It's more expensive because we have to build new plants, they are not yet amortized. We have to add batteries, we have to invest more in our grids because it is intermittent. So per unit, energy is more expensive. Decarbonized energy is more expensive. People, they don't say that a lot because it's not popular, but the truth is that. And then the only way to master the bill is to limit the volumes. And the good news is that the room for that is huge. If our assessment is that when we start screening the energy consumption, we can find 30-40% less, 30-40% savings. And then you can effectively, when you manage to free up these savings, you can change the remaining part of the energy you still consume by decarbonized energy. A bit more expensive per unit, but less volumes. That it means an energy bill that you can master. This is the main limit. That's the assessment we have made, and it has been said. We have decided to shift our business model. We were an energy producer. It was our first business, so we have been extremely successful. In fact, over 30 years, we built plants everywhere in the world, in 66 countries, and we are very proud to have done that, because we brought energy to a lot of people, a lot of populations. But we did that with the existing technologies, that is to say carbonized technologies. And we understood, that it was 5-6 years ago now, that it is probably the end of a cycle. And we moved from that situation to a situation where our main business is to deliver energy savings and being paid for that. So we invest in a building like this one, we change the heating systems, the cooling systems, the air ventilation systems. We replace that by very modern ones, fueled by digital sensors, IoT, and we have here great partners for that. We save a lot of energy, and only then we replace the remaining part of energy by renewables. So our first business now is to save energy for people. So effectively, 2/3 of our employees in the world, 2/3 of our 160,000 people who work for ENGIE are specialized in energy saving. So it is a real shift in paradigm, in business model, in technologies, in everything.
I think if we take the time to think of the future, maybe in 5 to 10 years from now, according to you, what will be the most important changes you will have to face regarding, your internal, external stakeholders, regarding also what we call the social demand, in terms of inclusivity and in terms of sustainability? What are the next challenges you will have to face? Do you work on it? I'm sure.
Well, that's true that, so I spoke about CO2. What I'd said is really about CO2 reduction and go to zero carbon. But the point is that, I don't know if you share that because you are, as we are, Ben and me, involved in business. Our assessment is that this climate element triggered something bigger. And I really believe we see a lot of expectations vis-à-vis business, corporates. People expect that we extend the way we look at that. We extend the notion of performance. And we are able to have a positive impact not only on climate, but more broadly. And that's true that we have not just a climate problem. We have more than that. We consume 2 planets per year almost, 3 in France, 5 in the US, in Canada, I don't know, but probably not far from 5. We have more and more people feeling excluded. So that's clear that we reached a limit. And I really believe that people expect something different. And the young generation is probably the most radical. I don't know for you, Ben, but I see a portion of people, young people joining ENGIE for a last interview, and very often I feel to be the people interviewed, you know. They ask me extremely...
Can you give us an example?
Tell me, okay, is it real, what you are saying? Is it real? Can you really demonstrate that you really go to zero carbon, or is it fake? And this is a generation that is extremely demanding, probably more on planet than on people for the moment. It's more about biodiversity, carbon, natural resources. I believe and I hope it will change. Before working for ENGIE, I worked in the water system, water business. And I've been extremely impressed to see that for decades we have, so many big challenges that are unsolved today. I don't know if you know that, but in Africa, every 18 seconds, we have a child dying because no safe water. Je suis en colère quand je redis ça. C'est incroyable. Et on s'est tous laissés dépasser par un modèle qui n'adresse pas ces questions-là. Et mon impression, c'est que ce qui s'est passé avec le climat emporte une vague qui est plus grande et qui, j'espère, mais je crois, fait qu'on regarde pas seulement planète, mais aussi people. And we started, as you said, ourselves a big program to work on inclusion. Limit the energy bill is already that, in fact, to limit the cost of life. But we also made great commitments on apprenticeship. In France, for example, we said 10% of our employees will come from apprenticeship. 10%. And we really tried to channel all our strategic planning capabilities, no longer only on technology, but also to deliver that kind of objective. And it works.
Coming back to you, Ben, what are, according to you, your next challenges in terms of inclusion, sustainability? I say that you have to make everything at the same time, but if you have the time, sometimes, maybe around midnight, to think of the future of the company, to think of the future of your challenges, What are your top priorities regarding these themes?
Similar to what Isabelle just said regarding being interviewed by new prospective people who want to join our company, it is true. We are being asked questions about where is the company going to be in 20, 40, 60 years? Is this a company I want to join because it aligns with what's important to me? But in terms of priorities, number one, for our business, one of the best ways for us to reduce our environmental impact is through new technology, new airplanes, and that costs a lot of money. So when we get taxed, and those tax dollars do not go toward our industry or to improving technology, for us, this is counterintuitive to what the objective is. So when you look at the carbon footprint of brand new technology like the Airbus A350 or the Boeing 787 versus technology that it replaces, it's quite incredible. And the advantages that you can immediately put in there, are not always understood. And in our view, anybody in the supply chain, when it comes to just before we actually put a seat out, there are a lot of people, the manufacturers, the engine manufacturers. You look at some of the seat manufacturers that we deal with. I mean, every single piece of the supply chain in our business, the pressure all comes onto us, and we have the smallest margins. So for us to be able to drive the changes that are required when we have the smallest margins is another priority we need to get around. But I would say what gives me the most optimism is, and I said this before in the first part of my answer, was the bulk of our best ideas come from our employees, and I find it amazing. And I said in the beginning that when it comes through, because airline employees, for the most part, are unbelievably passionate. I think if any of you know pilots or cabin attendants, especially pilots, they've dreamt of flying their entire life. Most of them don't want to do anything else. And there aren't too many businesses in the world that are like that. And if you look at our pilots at Air France or at KLM, and many of our cabin crew, many of our mechanics, this is all they want to do. And now that there is a much greater focus on the future impact on the environment of many, many industries, and in particular the aviation industry, the ideas that are being put forward to us in terms of priorities, in order to maintain that alignment with the company they work for, how can we get a lot of these good ideas in place as quickly as possible, and to ensure that we maintain this level of inclusion, which we have a great alignment today at both of the units of our business, is another short-term priority. Midterm, not only us, but through the organizations of airlines, we have IATA, we have ICAO, these are big bodies in our industry. We want to continue to push the MROs and the engine manufacturers and the airlines to drive better technology. But let's just repeat what I said before. We are at the end of a very long chain that puts out airplanes and makes aviation possible. And what I'd like to do, and not to make excuses, is we want to ensure that we are responsible for our fair share, but it doesn't fully fall on us. And that would be more of a midterm priority. But it is, I don't know how many of you in the room here don't want to fly anymore. If anybody want to raise their hand and reduce their requirement, this is what's so amazing, is we have so much focus on us, but the demand is actually increasing every single year for us to provide flights. There is a small, I would say, awareness or increased awareness when there is a viable alternative. Here in France with the high-speed rail that has been there for many years. Yes, new lines actually get introduced, but the shift from air travel to the high-speed rail, in particular in France, I would say the bulk of it has already taken place. So when we look at the demand on our short-haul, medium-haul, long-haul flying, you hear a lot of negative news or a lot of negative focus on the airline industry, but we are not seeing a decrease in demand. So similar to what Isabelle just said previously, for us it's not a question of cost, it's a question of how do we balance off this enormous demand for our product with our responsibility to ensure that in the future we maintain what we've planned to do in the short term in a sustainable way. So it's a new environment for us. But as you say, all industries, and in particular aviation, keep evolving, every year, every decade. And I think for the medium term, this will be better for us as an industry and better for the world, better for the planet.
I mean, your position is very interesting because you know Canada for sure, and as Patrick mentioned, you are in a company which is binational, both French and Dutch. When you try to compare, when you try to evaluate, all these problematics regarding the different countries, the societies, are you able to, elaborate on this and to tell us in which countries, this question, for example, of inclusivity and sustainability are the more important?
So, living in Canada for over 40 years, I think there's quite a few Canadians in here. Even though it's the same country, there's big cultural differences between Quebec and between the rest of the country. So if you look at what we deal with inside Air France-KLM between the Netherlands and with France, there are quite a few similarities in terms of cultural differences. And in the company I work for today, I think it's actually a strength. You have what's called here, we don't use this term very often in North America, but there's Anglo-Saxon way of doing business in the Netherlands, and we have this what's called a European or French way of doing business here. It's very, very I'd say it's very, very valuable for our group. Two very different ways of approaching, and if you look at the two strengths that we have in Amsterdam and Paris, it's a very complementary asset that we've got. But from an inclusion perspective, we have the 88,000 people or 85,000 that we have working. 20,000 are already working together, especially on the commercial side of the business. So for them to be able to use the strengths of each culture is neat to see. But I think it boils down to the skill set. It's not the number one driver here.
And you have also, Isabelle, both a European and a global footprint. So what is your thoughts about the difference in terms of nationality, countries regarding all these problematics?
Well, there are differences for sure. I was in Japan not a long time ago. Japan is probably a country where the sensitivity for that is not yet at the same level. Maybe, but in the young generation.
Again.
Yeah. I believe that for this generation, there is really something that is global, maybe not absolutely equal everywhere, but there is a move that goes beyond nationalities, beyond countries.
And if we take the time now to focus on your job, on your daily job, what is, your main driver, but also the takeaways you can give us in order to transform, in order to achieve this kind of transformation regarding such, complex and huge groups? What are the personal, on a more personal basis, what are the lessons you can share with us if we try to push the door?
Sure. Well, for me personally, it's, my job is, I don't really view it as a job. I absolutely love our industry, and I think, most of the people that I work with are super passionate about aviation. So that's sort of my day. I really like what I do. It's, when I go on holiday, that's work. When I'm at work, that's sort of the holiday. So this is my approach to it. And all the challenges that we face each day or each year, they're just, this is a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle or a Rubik's Cube that there is a solution to, or there's an end state. And when you have a great team and you look at some of your competitors, I think Air France-KLM, that's why I decided to take the risk to move over here. I think, especially on the Air France side, the opportunity is the best one in the world. When you look, Paris, France is the biggest inbound market in the world. You look at the relative performance of Air France versus all the global airlines around the world. The opportunity is amazing here, and if it's not done in an inclusive way or maximum diversity way, it's not going to be optimized or maximized. And as I said, when you work with very passionate people, things like gender, things like background from which country you come from. I think there's a lot of work to be done at Air France. I would never have imagined it'd be such a big deal to run this company being a foreigner. You don't see this in many countries.
But I remember all the media, French media particularly, explained where you were chosen to be the new CEO, that it was an asset for you not to be French or Dutch. What do you think?
Well, it would be great if my French were a little better in France. But no, I think it's helped. It's within our group to not be placed in in either a French category or a Dutch category and viewed as more neutral. It's been an asset because you've got a group that has a long history where one side is making a lot more money than the other side, and one side, here in France, has had many more industrial challenges than the Dutch side. So a little bit of tension within the group, and historically the head of the group has always been French, even though we have a major Dutch side within the group. So to come in here as a non-French, non-Dutch has definitely helped in most ways.
So we know it was not obvious that the good mix between French and Dutch is Canadian.
It's still early.
So Isabelle, what are your personal views on the way you have to drive the company? You have to achieve the kind of transformation you have to face. What kind of takeaways again could you share with us?
Ce que je vous ai décrit tout à l'heure, c'est vraiment un renversement de business model. C'est pas juste apprendre de nouvelles technologies, ce qu'une communauté d'ingénieurs sait faire. C'est son métier. On avait vraiment à passer d'un business model où on avait l'habitude de construire des grosses centrales à 1 milliard d'euros pièce, grosso modo, à vraiment une entreprise de service qui est capable d'accompagner chacun de ses clients pour évaluer les consommations d'énergie, les réduire massivement et ensuite venir avec des systèmes agiles de panneaux sur le toit, de géothermie locale, etc. Donc vous voyez, en fait, c'était assez profond. Et on s'est assez vite rendu compte que pour arriver à faire ça, c'était pas seulement cérébral. On n'arriverait jamais à faire bouger une communauté de cette taille simplement par la raison. Mais que c'était l'émotion qu'il fallait aller toucher. Et finalement, ce qui a le mieux fonctionné, c'est que j'ai réussi à faire en sorte que chacun des employés du groupe, des collaborateurs, alors pas tout à fait tous, mais une très grande majorité d'entre eux, je leur ai demandé d'aller interviewer des stakeholders, qui ils voulaient. Leur boulanger, leurs partenaires professionnels, peu importe, mais 2 personnes chacun. En leur demandant, mais au fond, c'est quoi le monde de l'énergie demain? Comment est-ce que vous voyez? Qu'est-ce que vous attendez d'un groupe spécialisé depuis 30 ans dans l'énergie, qui a fait ses preuves dans ce métier? Et ça a fonctionné. C'est-à-dire que ça a permis finalement à cette communauté de réaliser, de prendre conscience que, en effet, ce qui était attendu d'elle était fondamentalement différent. Et puis le parti pris ensuite, ça a été la vitesse. Parce qu'on ne peut pas rester trop longtemps au milieu d'une transformation pareille. C'est quand même un moment décisif. Et c'est un moment où finalement on change à peu près tout en interne. On change l'organisation, on change les chaînes de responsabilité, on change beaucoup de choses. Et donc il fallait aller vite pour ne pas trop longtemps se trouver au milieu du gué. Et avec un objectif, c'était de montrer assez vite que ça marche économiquement, parce qu'on n'est pas une ONG. On est un groupe coté qui a décidé de regarder la performance de manière plus large, en incluant planète et people, mais enfin, il y avait vraiment une urgence à démontrer que pour nous, au sens classique du terme, et donc au sens de la performance financière du terme, ça marchait. C'est-à-dire que c'était un choix qui permettait à nos actionnaires d'aller mieux qu'avant. Pour faire ça, il faut le faire vite. Et alors, moi, je voudrais partager une bonne nouvelle avec vous, c'est que ça marche. C'est pas que c'est facile, je pense qu'on en est tous là, mais ça marche. Et la prime qu'on attendait en faisant ça, en envoyant des signaux extrêmement clairs, en bougeant si vite, en étant capable de finalement donner un signal à cette jeune génération, mais pas seulement à nos clients aussi très clair, on a eu la prime qu'on attendait. Alors évidemment, le début de la courbe, là, si vous êtes arrêté au début de la courbe, ça ne vous montre pas exactement ça. Vous voyez là, tous les ans, quelques chiffres quand même, parce que les idées c'est bien, mais est-ce que ça se voit? Alors vous voyez, 2012, 13, 14, 15, ENGIE, ou son ancêtre, qui s'appelait GDF Suez à l'époque, a connu une période très difficile. Après 30 ans de succès fantastique, une période très dure où chaque année notre croissance organique était négative, et vous voyez, parfois très lourdement négative. Hein. Vous voyez, 2015, moins 14% de croissance organique. Alors, je vais vous dire, même si vous êtes un groupe très solide, assez vite, ça ne va pas bien. Et notre résultat net n'arrêtait pas de décroître. On est passé en 3 ans de 3,8 milliards à 2,6 milliards de résultat net. On était toujours profitable, mais la spirale était terrible. Et alors j'ai vécu ça de près. Une spirale négative comme ça coupe absolument les ailes à n'importe quel système. Tout se ferme. Les initiatives sont plus prises, les gens n'osent plus entreprendre, il n'y a plus de prise de risque, il n'y a plus de marge de manœuvre. Donc vraiment la chute. Et ce que je vous ai dit tout à l'heure rapidement, c'est-à-dire vraiment un parti pris très fort pour le zéro carbone, pour les économies d'énergie et pour la décarbonation du mix, avec moins 50% en seulement 3 ans, mais des objectifs extrêmement forts annoncés tout de suite, ont fait que dès la première année, nos clients sont revenus. Une croissance organique négative, je ne connais rien de mieux pour mesurer l'attractivité vis-à-vis des clients. En fait, c'est le KPI. Et on n'arrêtait pas d'en perdre. La première année de notre shift, on est repassé en croissance de base client. Ça, c'est quand même, je trouve, encourageant. C'est-à-dire qu'il n'y a pas besoin d'attendre des années pour voir ça. Et ça nous a permis d'avoir un sol, de stabiliser le sol sous nos pieds. Notre résultat net a arrêté de baisser. C'est quand même ça qui permet de payer un dividende. Il n'a pas augmenté tout de suite parce que comme on a fait 15 milliards de cessions, il y a eu un peu d'effet dilutif, vous imaginez, de ces cessions. Mais on a stabilisé au moins. Puis les cessions sont derrière nous et donc on est reparti. Et cette fois sur des trends extrêmement solides parce qu'on est fondamentalement aligné avec ce que veut la société aujourd'hui. Donc on a des croissances très fortes dans le secteur. Donc premium des talents, c'est pas un 20 mots, c'est pas juste une idée, ça se voit. Des talents, là vous avez le nombre de CV que nous recevons chaque année. Et vous voyez que dès la première... On était à 250 000 CV par an à peu près, depuis longtemps. Ce qui est déjà bien. Ça faisait de nous un groupe qui avait la capacité à être attractif. Mais dans les rankings, pas tant que ça. Dès la première année, presque 100 000 de plus, etc. Aujourd'hui, on est à presque 800 000 par an. Donc, quand même, tout ça, c'est une guerre de talents. Donc, je le constate, hein, pour revenir sur ce que je disais tout à l'heure, à savoir les jeunes font vraiment attention. Ça se voit. Alors, dernière premium, puisqu'il fallait qu'on obtienne ça aussi, celle du marché. Alors ça a été plus long, je ne vous cache pas. C'est un petit message au passage, il y a des investisseurs dans la salle. Les jeunes tout de suite, les clients tout de suite, le marché 2 ans plus tard. Quand même, s'il y a un acteur qui doit être le plus pushy pour privilégier le long terme, ce sont les actionnaires. Parce que nos compagnies, si elles ne se transforment pas, deviennent des stranded assets. Et quand même, là, il faut constater que... Alors oui, ça s'est bien terminé. Hein. On est bien revenu, mais enfin, je ne vous cache pas que les 2 premières années ont été un peu sévères, parce que le marché déteste le changement, il déteste la discontinuité, il déteste la prise de risque. Et donc, il vous dit... Moi, j'ai reçu des lettres, hein, formidables. C'est formidable ce que vous faites, continuez, c'est exactement ça, le long terme. D'accord. Quand je regarde les mouvements sur le cours, c'est pas ça qui s'est passé. Donc, alors, on est quand même sorti en TSR très positif de cette période, plus 24% comparé à une période précédente où on n'arrêtait pas de perdre du retour pour les actionnaires. Donc ça s'est bien terminé, mais je trouve que là, je réponds à une question que vous ne m'avez pas posée.
Which is good.
Voilà. Qu'est-ce qu'on pourrait faire mieux collectivement? Je crois que ce qu'on pourrait faire mieux collectivement, c'est organiser un système qui fait que le monde des actionnaires, puisque beaucoup de nos entreprises sont cotées, c'est le cas de Ben aussi, et d'Air France-KLM, que les actionnaires deviennent les premiers promoteurs de ces changements et pas les derniers à rejoindre le mouvement, même s'ils le font à la fin.
Merci Isabelle. So maybe a last question for you, Ben, regarding what Isabelle told you. Are your shareholders comprehensive? And among them, how is the relation with the state today, which is sometimes can be maybe bipolar? You told us that it's difficult to be an air company in a country where high speed by train is so developed. We have a big issue on the 5th of December. I have to go to Marseille, so you will probably advise me to go there by plane, I guess. We'll see. So how to deal with, with the actionnaire, with the shareholders?
So first part of your question, having a government shareholder. So for those of you that aren't aware, the government of France owns 14.5% of Air France-KLM. And this is much lower than when the government of France owned 100% of Air France. So gradually been reducing its stake for many years. And we also have a shareholder in the form of the Dutch government, and this is new, 14% as of February of this year. And we have two other big shareholders, Delta Airlines and China Eastern. So four shareholders that have different interests, but also some that are the same. So having, a government shareholder, and we'll talk about the French state. When the percentage is 14.5, and when you're operating, at least in our industry, in an international market, it's right on the line of, I think, a good thing for our business. It's very stabilizing. Our employees do believe that we are a for-profit business in order to move forward, that the government of France is a shareholder, but that we are not an arm of the government. And when you are a business that has come from 100% state ownership down to 14 or down to 14%, 14.5, that's not easy. So I was very impressed when I came into the group to see that there was a very healthy balance, because the transportation network in the country, in particular aviation, is key for business, it's key for travel. And this, as I said, it's been very, very stabilizing. The Dutch government obviously has similar interests on the part of the health of KLM and Schiphol. Like Air France is the largest public sector employer in Ile-de-France, and KLM is, I think it's the third largest in the Netherlands, in the entire Netherlands. So these two big transportation networks, both in Holland and here, as I say, government support, other than some of the taxes that are imposed on us, more recent ones around the environment, I think it's not bad. We view it as a positive.
Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you very much.
Merci.
It's true.